Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
My name is Irene.
All
I'm
right.
excited to be here in front of you and ask you my one question.
Yes.
Understanding.
One moment. Proceed.
Understanding that time is not linear, I want to ask a question.
Well, time can be experienced in a linear way.
Correct.
And in fact, that's usually what you actually refer to as time.
Yes.
But it is an illusion, nevertheless. Yes?
Yes. To me, this is like a romantic question.
A romantic question.
Yes.
Yes.
My husband and I, we have been talking about that in our next incarnation, we would like to meet again. And
But you understand that reincarnation is an illusion, yes? It's real as an experience. You can have the experience that you're reincarnating, but everything exists all at once. All lives exist right now. So you may create the experience of going from this life to another life and quote-unquote meeting again, but those lives already exist. Those are different people, already existing right now simultaneously with the people you are right now. Therefore, you're making connections to them energetically to download information, to download energy, to aid and assist you in this experience, just as they may be drawing upon your life experience and downloading information and energy to aid and assist them in their experience along that connective line you have made from the present, just as they have made it from their present. Whether you call that the future or not doesn't mean it doesn't exist right now. So you don't actually ever become them. The idea is that from the oversoul perspective, it might be more accurate or precise to say it that way, because the oversoul has all these extensions in incarnations simultaneously, and you could say, well, as the oversoul, I have this life, I have this life, I have that life, in whatever order you wish to linearly perceive it. But the oversoul also understands that all those lives exist all at once, and that your experience of having one life after another is just a perspective from within the linear space-time framework, but it's not an accurate description of what's actually mechanically happening. You only have one life to live.
Okay.
The idea is that as you shift yourself, as you change your perspective, you can create the experience of having other lives, but that's just an experiential perspective. Nevertheless, to address the question you asked, the idea again is you can choose whatever you wish to experience just by making the choice. It's not that difficult. If you choose to have that experience of having another life together, you can. There's nothing that stops it.
Well-being in this incarnation. Well-being in this incarnation.
You mean while being in physical reality?
Yes.
Because the incarnation is who you are right now.
Okay.
So yes, you can choose to have the experience of having another life in physical reality together as two different people. I'm just telling you that that's just the perspective and an experience of the perspective. It's not actually what's mechanically happening, because those lives exist right now. Those are two other people right now.
Yes.
Does this make sense to you?
It does make sense.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You may also find that you might like to spend some time together in spirit as well.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I had this experience on Thursday night that I had this sort of energy going through all my back and forward, back
Yes.
and forward. It lasted a long time, maybe hours.
How exciting.
And then, you know, we're seeing everything kind of blurry.
Yes.
And then I don't know, something told me, I really haven't checked the website of Bashar, but to go there and discover that, by going in there, I discovered that you were coming to Oakland.
All right.
And so here I am.
So you were being guided by your own synchronicity, your higher mind, your guides, and our vibration.
So that energy that flew down my spine, what was that about?
It was a message from your higher mind
Thank
saying you need to pay attention to this synchronicity, because it will somehow serve you.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
It's not mysterious. These are the kinds of things that will happen more and more as you expand your consciousness. These kinds of symptoms are par for the course of the expansion, where you become more sensitized to higher frequency energies and are more capable of consciously recognizing that you're being given information. And it will usually play out in the form of synchronicity or some form of urge that guides you in a certain direction. And that will tell you that this is where you need to be. This is the energy you need to experience to aid and assist you. But it's coming from your own higher mind mostly.
Makes
Yes?
sense. Makes sense.
I know, that's why I said it.
I have a quick question, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you. So I've been trying to follow my excitement.
You have been what?
I'm following my excitement.
Thank you.
So I'm working towards that path. And so about 6 years ago, I decided to drop my executive assistant job and become a pet sitter and dog walker. I did that for 6 years, loved it so much,
Yes.
worked my ass off, like 14 hours a day.
You no longer have an ass?
That said, then I got really sick and discovered at 40 years old that I had an emergency surgery and discovered that I had a congenital condition, so I had to stop that job that I love so much. And for 2 months I was in disability and stuff like that. So now I'm
Yes.
back doing this job on the side
Yes.
as I work again in an office part-time. And so my question to you is, I'm following my excitement. So that job, I loved it so much, no matter if it was less money, more
Yes.
work. But now there's this other part of me where my body cannot keep up with that excitement.
Then maybe you need to do something else.
I see.
Or maybe you need to look at how you might have been doing it and do it in a more exciting way that wouldn't wear and tear on you.
I see.
Maybe you weren't open to the idea that there may still have been some old ideas in there that you didn't realize were there, that you needed to work through. Nevertheless, you can still follow whatever at the moment is your highest excitement. And remember, the entire formula is not just act on your highest excitement. To the best you are able is the next part of the formula. Yes?
Yes.
So if you are no longer able, that's a sign that you need to make a shift and act on what you're capable of acting on that is representative of your highest excitement, because maybe it's telling you you need to make a change right now, whereas maybe you've been resisting that.
I think I have. Yeah.
Sometimes when you insist on the idea of acting on excitement, even though you're getting signals that maybe you need to make a change, then you're not actually following your excitement, because by definition, your excitement wouldn't contain the idea of something that would wear you down. Only resistance does. So in resisting the idea that you needed maybe to do something a little bit different because you were so enthusiastic just about following your excitement, regardless of what you were experiencing, you weren't really paying attention to your actual definition of excitement. Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense now. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
Very much.
Remember that when you act on your excitement, there is absolutely nothing that insists that it has to be forced. That's not excitement. If there is something going on when you are acting on your excitement that you need to pay attention to it. Remember that one of the tools of excitement is to bring to your attention any beliefs within you that are out of alignment with that excitement, so that you can focus on them and pay attention to them and find out what they are and let them go. Not just keep pushing through because you insist, well, my excitement shouldn't be having this effect. But if it is, it's there for a reason. Remember, even though it might bring up something you don't prefer, it's there for a reason. And if you ignore it, it's only going to get stronger until you pay attention to it. That's how it works.
I agree.
Why, thank you.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you for being here.
Well, I'm not, but thank you for the sentiment.
I would like to have a conversation with you about my guides.
Yes?
And I think it would go more smooth if you led the conversation.
I don't think so. Now, what are you going to do about that?
Well, I figured you were going to throw me a curveball, so I'll
Are you going to guide yourself back to where you need to be?
okay, yes.
All right. Remember, as we have said, Guides are doing their job the most, the best, when they are, what?
Guiding me?
Oh, well said. When they are unobtrusive.
Yes.
When you don't necessarily know that you're being guided. When it's subtle. When they use the things that are already in front of your face, like synchronicities. When all they may need to do to get the information you need to you is just nudge you or whisper, hey, just turn left here. Then you'll overhear what you need to know. Instead of it coming with voices and trumpets, like many of you ask for. That's not the way they really do their job best. They are attempting to remind you that you are your own best guide and to start trusting your higher mind and your intuition in these things. Yes?
Yes, I understand that.
All right, well, there, I started the dialogue. Now, do you want to finish it?
Well, over the past few weeks, I've had thousands of questions, and right now they are all eluding me. So I'll just...
All of them? Not even one little one still hanging around? You can take a moment.
I guess I'm afraid of the question.
What are you afraid of? What are you afraid will happen if you ask it?
My head will explode, and everybody around me will have to clean up the mess.
Would that be so bad? There are probably mops and brooms somewhere. Maybe a bucket or two. However,
my question, I remember hearing you say one time that you could teach somebody to channel in 5 minutes.
yes,
And
I can actually teach you that you are channeling in no time at all.
right.
Because you are.
I guess that was going to be my next question, because I started thinking, okay, there's the channeling, like you were mentioning, how we're always channeling.
Yes.
I know that I am channeling my guides.
Yes.
Sometimes
All right,
they
so
get me in trouble. But trance channeling?
well, it's not actually a trance. It's a state of heightened connectivity.
Okay.
But nevertheless, if it's something you want to do in a vocal way, as you're seeing right now, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
If that's exciting for you, then obviously the opportunities will present themselves to you in life. But one of the easiest things to do to practice is to actually have someone asking questions. Because then they act as a grounding circuit that pulls the information through you, allowing you to get out of the way, and anchors and grounds the information in them. If you're just doing it yourself, in a room all by yourself, you don't have to go into that state. You can just receive the information telepathically directly. The only reason to go into the vocal channeling state is so that you're acting as a translation device for someone else asking a question in the way that you are of us. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So
yes.
surround yourself with some people who are willing to ask the questions. Let yourself get out of the way by not caring whether you get the answer or not caring whether you look ridiculous in doing so.
Like
you understand?
get over the weirdness kind of thing.
Yes. So just allow the mechanism to be set up properly so that, like electricity, it can take the path of least resistance through you to the person asking the question, instead of staying within you because it has nowhere to go. Make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
So you can practice that way. That's one way. Other ways may come to you through your synchronicity. Is this exciting for you to do this?
Oh, absolutely. I see a lot of people doing it, and I want to have that fun too.
Well, then go right ahead.
Okay.
But you need to do it in a way that is actually representative of the way it's actually done.
Right. I just
Yes?
need to get out of my own way, basically.
Well, yes, and you will learn things in the process. And at first, there may be some resistance, but that's all right. You'll learn. Just like with anything. Yes?
Yes.
Practice, practice, practice.
Right.
Yes?
Absolutely.
All right. Does that help you?
That does. Thank you. That's what I needed.
All right. Thank you.
very much.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you for speaking to you again. And I have actually two questions.
Yes.
One is my friend piggyback on me, so I have to ask her questions. Her question is, we are taking MSM and vitamin C, 6,000 to 10,000. You tell us that's good for us.
It can be.
Yes.
But again, these are permission slips. If you're attracted to use it, you're attracted for the reason that it will probably work for you.
Yes, it is working for us.
All right.
But one question is, we buy this thing, MSM plus glucosamine together, and that's affect. It's not a good idea to the glucosamine, 6,000 milligrams.
You have to leave it up to the individuals as to whether or not they're attracted to do such a thing. Permission slips don't necessarily work for everyone.
So it doesn't matter if it's working for me, it's okay for me, but my friend had a question, so it doesn't matter, actually, it's okay. Up to yourself.
Yes, of course it's up to you.
Okay. That's one question.
Yes.
And another question is, I'm leaving all my family in Berkeley, my 4 children and my granddaughter, and I'm moving on to my life. I'm 67, and I'm going to the little island, and I'm kind of a little bit afraid, and I want to know, make sure if I'm making right choice or not.
Why are you leaving your children?
Because I'm tired of raising them. I'm 67. I want to live by myself. I want to find myself. Because when my kids live next door to me, and my children live very close to me, and my life is not my life.
How old are they?
37 to 47.
Have a nice trip.
Thank you. You think I'm making right choices?
Is it your highest excitement to do so?
Yes. All right.
Then if it is not the path for you, the synchronicity will show you that it's not. But at the moment, if it seems to be the path of least resistance that is representative of what you prefer as vibrational compatibility, then doing so will be in alignment with who you truly are, and making that choice will also give the rest of your family the opportunity to rely on themselves. Yes?
Yes. That's the one big main reason I was leaving.
Then that may be the best way to raise them, by no longer raising them.
Well, actually, kids raise me. I think they're done raising me, so I'm moving on. I'm backward.
All right. But again, if you're truly following your excitement, then do so. And it will be the best for all concerned, because it will give them an opportunity to decide what it is they prefer for themselves at that point by seeing the consequences of their choices in comparison to your choices. Yes?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes.
Because you can't really be in a relationship with them anyway if you're not actually being who you are.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
So do what you need to do. Things will change in some way, shape, or form, but you need to become who it is you truly are if you're going to have any kind of really solid relationship with them anyway. And you need to act as an example to them that they too can see that it's important to follow your excitement. And they can learn to rely on themselves and be responsible for their choices. Yes?
Yes.
All right. So again, have fun.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Bye.
Adea.
Nania.
We thought we'd explore in more detail about the election and some of the things that have happened as a result. And even just before starting this out, I just want to be respectful to anyone who voted for Trump and felt that that was in their best interest, because one of the interesting things about this experience is it can be someone very close to you that might have a different point of view.
Yes.
And one of the things that we're challenged with that is that if you find that you have people close to you that believe differently than you, finding a way to approach this change from a positive perspective will be supportive in uniting everyone.
Yes.
And I think that the idea that it's very challenging for people is the way that there were many discriminatory things said.
But as we said, the idea then is that you've brought everything out into the open so that you can really see clearly and not have any hidden agendas. In other words, they have exposed themselves.
Yeah, I think that this has been such an amazing sort of cosmic representation.
Yes.
It gives us an opportunity to go to a higher level and look at this orchestration.
Yes.
Because the idea of contact is a positive direction, the idea of being supportive of all the differences between people and being fair and having a land that's supportive of everyone is obviously these are positive ideas.
Yes.
And when you look at the things that unfolded along the way, guiding this ultimate positive expression, you see things that could very easily be construed as negative.
And some of them actually are. That doesn't mean you have to get a negative effect.
Well, for example, one of the things they found out was that it wasn't that so many people voted for Trump than they did for Mitt Romney. It was that few people showed up to vote, and now they're upset because they didn't vote.
Yes, and what was one of the last things that I said to a group of people? If you don't get out and take action, you deserve what you get. Yes?
And so I thought that particularly, I think there's a lot of young people that are affected by that, and this will give them an impression of how important it is to take your position, your place, and
Yes.
to place your vote in a country where we're fortunate enough to have this opportunity.
Yes. You become more interactive, more participatory. You actually make choices. Yes. Physical reality is about taking action. It's
So
about being part of it.
So that can be a really positive thing going
It can be.
forward for our society.
Absolutely. And again, this is why we encourage all of you to look at it that way. Because if it brings to your attention that you may have then acted in a way that you didn't prefer and you now get to see the consequence of inaction, then now that may change your mind about how active you really need to be in the direction that you prefer. So this is a positive thing. As I said, you can sometimes see the light more clearly by seeing the darkness first, by comparison. So this is a positive thing. If you remain in that state, you will benefit from it.
Now, another thing that was interesting is for those people whose candidate did not win, they actually, each person went through their own unique process of how to cope with this.
Yes.
And it also revealed things like, for some people, it was kind of almost like going through a breakup.
Yes.
Like they were married to the country in a certain way, and then all of a sudden there's this new person in that's espousing views that they don't know what to do with.
Yes.
And it's like losing your power connection with your government, because you always felt like maybe your government was supporting you to some degree.
But it's not losing your power connection to your government. It's recognizing there is a true parallel reality split here and connecting to the empowered government you prefer in the new reality, and letting that pull you toward that reality like a magnet. It's all right to disconnect from a structure that actually doesn't empower you, that actually gives you ideas of disempowerment, fear-based beliefs. That's never been a power source. Breaking free from it is what's empowering.
So I know some people are asking, like, well, how can I send love and support to Trump to help him to become the person that he needs to be to help us change our system while at the same time not ravaging everybody
By
on the
becoming
planet?
the person you need to be first, and then radiating a frequency that gives others, including that individual, an opportunity to pick up on that vibration, as I described with what we are doing through the Sedona vortex. Spreading the energy in those areas, so at least there's an opportunity for people to be exposed to that vibration. So being yourself first is what will allow you to radiate the frequency that gives everyone else at least a choice and an opportunity to realize how they can also become more of themselves without going through a fear-based belief system process.
And it also, for each individual, it gave them an opportunity to see how they respond to shock.
Yes.
And to change.
Yes.
And whether they can navigate that.
Yes.
And, how long did it take you to process that? How long were you able to go before you moved into a truly positive state around it? And
Yes.
it's a good to be optimistic and at the same time not wear blinders. So
Yes.
it's not about deluding ourselves
No.
about how much this person may or may not change.
No.
But I know that some people went through an idea of like, here, I'm following my excitement. I'm doing everything I can to
Yes.
support Hillary winning.
And they need to see that they actually got what they needed, if they will only look at it from that point of view. Just because it didn't happen the way they expected, what have we said about that? It's not about having things happen the way you expect. It's about having things happen in the way you need them to happen so you can use what happened in the most positive way. This is what will actually accelerate what it is they actually prefer, even though on the surface it may not at first appear to look like it. That's why you have to see with deeper eyes and broader vision, so you can use it in the way that you would if it were a wave. As I said, a shock wave coming at you. If you see a shock wave coming at you, build a surfboard and ride it. Don't just let it overwhelm and drown you. Ride the wave in the direction you wish to go. It's that simple. You can use this to your advantage very easily. But you have to stay in the state that gives you the ability to see how you can do that.
And it was interesting how we actually set ourselves up, because we created a greater shock by making ourselves think that it was going to go a different way.
You had to do that in order to actually break free from the status quo. Because if you had any inkling that it was going to happen, it just would have been, oh, ho-hum, all right, that's what happened. You needed to set yourself up in order for it to be a big enough shock to actually separate the parallel realities. Yes?
Yes. Well,
So the chasm has been created, and the crack is now widening. Be on the right side that you wish to be on. Yes?
So this is a new place for us in terms
Yes.
of understanding how to cope with a reality that actually has two different realities happening simultaneously.
Exactly.
Like, how do you relate to that? I mean, like, if you see that 50% of the country is ecstatic about this situation and 50% is not.
Yes.
Okay, so...
Well, what do you mean? How do you relate to it? You observe both neutrally. You recognize that there are now two representations of two different realities. And you go, which one do I prefer? Which way do I prefer to look at this? And then you make a choice. That's how you deal with it.
So if you look at the reality and you say, okay, I see that there is some way that this new reality is going to take us where we want to go.
Where you need to
Where
go.
we
Where you
need to
prefer
go.
to go.
Right.
It's the wanting that sometimes creates the expectation that doesn't get met. But if you always know you're going to get what you need, you'll be fine.
So the paradox is like you're saying, well, they're splitting into two worlds.
Yes.
And does that mean that I look at the other world like, oh, well, that's not me, and this one is me? Or do you go, okay, by supporting the new reality that's been created, by doing that in a positive way with the idea that that energy will help propel it into something more and more positive.
You don't have to support the principles to support the experience that it happened. Because then you can use the experience as a springboard to propel you in the direction you prefer.
So in other words, if we're sending support to the being that is in this place now, in a leadership place,
or at the very least, a thank you.
For helping to propel us.
Yes.
And by focusing on positive outcomes for that, by a certain kind of support in a sense.
Yes.
Are you then now becoming part of that reality?
The new one?
Well, in other words, they're splitting.
Yes, they're
splitting. So
splitting.
if I'm supporting the new reality that is part of a choice that I didn't prefer.
As I just told you already, you don't have to support the principles. You're only supporting the fact that the event happened. The energy of the event, you're supporting it in the way that works for you. Not in the way that does not.
And that comes down to that individual decision to look at the situation, preferably from the gamma state.
Yes.
Which is going to always be a broader, bigger picture.
Yes.
And to have a supportive understanding. The universe is supporting you, even if it doesn't look like it.
Exactly. And then you will experience the support.
And that's the energy that you'll be sharing with the people of that splitting reality that will then allow them to choose what kind of a world they want also. Is that right?
Yes.
So even by it splitting, paradoxically, you're still supporting it.
Yes. The idea, again, is that we have now spoken to all of you time and time again about the idea of the splitting prism and the train tracks going off in different directions. And up to this moment, most of you have looked at that as a metaphor. It's not a metaphor anymore. It's actually, literally, physically happening. You are literally splitting into two parallel tracks, and you're now experiencing both somewhat simultaneously. So the idea of that which is in template form, when you give it enough energy and give it enough time, will actually start to appear in physical form. This is one of the reasons for the strong shock and disorientation, is that you are suddenly realizing the split is real. It's actually happening in physical reality, and you are standing right on the crack.
Another exciting thing about that is if you hear someone from one side describing their perception of the situation, it's like 180 degrees opposite of the other people. And you're like,
of course.
Are they seeing the
event.
same reality that I'm in?
No, they're not. Literally, they're not. And as we have demonstrated many times, the same event can be perceived exactly opposite. It's the little demonstration we gave some time ago. Here you have the idea of the channel's hands in this position. If there were a person standing here and a person standing here, and I move the channel's hands this way, the person here would say, well, the hands are moving to my left. The person here would say, no, 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 they're moving to my right. The different perspectives give you a completely opposite and different reality experience from the same single movement. That's what's happening. Yes?
It's absolutely fascinating.
Yes, it is. What time is it? All right. Do you have additional questions?
I do. Or do you want me to get off this subject or something?
Well, this has been election coverage from CNN, Cosmic News Network. But it may be time to allow others to join in.
Oh, well, we'd have to pull some more names.
So?
Okay, well, we'll come back.
There is always an afternoon